Fisherman chopped to death at Dundee. Newsroom. A tragic incident occurred on Saturday afternoon when fisherman Parman Singh, 30, from Dundee, Mahakoni, East Coast Demerara, was brutally murdered by a known individual who has since been arrested. His wife, Violet Bennett, 30, informed the newsroom on Sunday that she received the shocking news after a call around 1700 hours HRS, just hours after Singh left their home. Determined to uncover the truth, Bennett rushed to the scene. According to eyewitness accounts, Singh was at the Dundee Canal Bridge when Adesh Lachman approached him and requested a cigarette. Without warning, Lachman violently attacked Singh with a chopper, delivering a fatal blow to the back of his neck. Singh was immediately transported to the Mahakoni Public Hospital, but it was too late. In tears, Bennett demanded justice for her husband, asserting, "I want justice for my husband because he did nothing wrong. He left behind his children. He never wanted to leave them." Singh's mother, Sharmila Singh, expressed her deep anguish over her son's death, stating, "It's hard to lose a big boy like that. It really is hard." Parman Singh leaves behind his wife, 4 children, and grieving family members who are determined to seek justice for his tragic death. Prison officer charged for introducing narcotics into Lusignan prison. Deandre Clark, a 25-year-old prison officer from Stanley Town, New Amsterdam, Burbis, was arrested on March 19, 2025, by ranks of the Vigilance Police Station. He was charged today, March 21, with the offense of introducing narcotics, contrary to Section 7(1)(I) of the Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychotropic Substances Control Act, Chapter 1010. The charge pertains to the possession of 28.4 grams of cannabis, which occurred on March 19, 2025, at Lusignan Prison, East Coast Demerara. At approximately 11:30 a.m. today, Friday, Clark appeared at Vigilance Magistrates Court No. 1 before His Worship Magistrate Sunil Scarce, where the charge was read to him. He pleaded not guilty and was granted bail in the amount of $100,000. The matter has been adjourned to April 24, 2025, for a report. Man who attempted to defraud ATM sentenced today to 2 years imprisonment. Also fined $800,000. Tulsi Ramprasad from Parika, East Bank, Essequibo, was sentenced today, March 21, 2025, to 2 years imprisonment after being arrested on October 28, 2023, at the Citizens Bank Automated Teller Machine, ATM, outlet located at OMG on Sheriff Street and Campbell Avenue, Georgetown, with 4 blank cards in his possession. On November 1, 2023, he was charged with the offense of possession of illegal devices, blank cards with magnetic strips, contrary to Section 8(2) of the Cybercrime Act 16/2008. Ramprasad appeared before Her Worship Chief Magistrate Ms. Sherdell Isaacs Marcus at Georgetown Magistrate Court 1, where the charge was read to him. He pleaded not guilty and was remanded in custody. On January 1, 2024, he was granted bail in the sum of $300,000, and the case was transferred to Georgetown Magistrate Court 6 for trial. Earlier today, March 21, 2025, Her Worship Ms. Orinthia Schmidt, presiding at Georgetown Magistrate Court 6, found him guilty of the offense of possession of illegal devices. He was sentenced in absentia to 2 years imprisonment and was also fined $800,000. Identity theft nightmare. Woman's stolen ID used for fraudulent loan. Big Smith News Watch. Alicia Curtin's life took a troubling turn after her stolen identification card was used to secure a fraudulent loan, leaving her entangled in a year-long battle to clear her name. Curtin alleged that she was robbed on January 15, 2023, when her car was broken into, resulting in the loss of all her important documents, including her ID card. She promptly filed a police report the following day and was provided with the necessary documents to apply for a new ID and other essential records. However, in January 2024, while on leave from her job to care for her newborn baby, Curtin was informed that a court's employee had visited her workplace, claiming that she had taken out a loan at the court's business center. Shocked by this allegation, She was further told that security footage allegedly showed her accessing the loan. Despite her denial, Curtin provided a statement to the authorities and was assured that the matter would be escalated. Months passed with no resolution as she felt increasingly pushed around by the company. In December 2024, while applying for a mortgage, Curtin was stunned to learn from her bank that she had an outstanding loan with Courts, taken out using her stolen ID. Despite her pleas for assistance, Courts stated they could not help her. Seeking legal action, Curtin contacted a lawyer in December, and by January, official legal letters were sent to Courts Guyana Incorporated requesting documentation to prove that she had taken the loan. The company promised a response from their legal team, but no communication has been made to date. Curtin continued her efforts to resolve the situation and visited the credit bureau, only to discover that she was in arrears of $800,000 and that her credit score had been severely impacted. Another legal letter was sent to Courts, but employees refused to acknowledge its receipt by signing. Additionally, Curtin claims she has faced difficulties obtaining a copy of the police report to support her case. She was informed that her attorney must formally request the document from the police commissioner before the station can search for the records, if they still exist, since the old building was demolished and some files may have been lost. Now, over a year since she first sought help, Curtin remains frustrated and financially burdened. As a new mother trying to move forward, she is desperate for justice and a resolution to clear her name. Despite her ongoing struggle, Courts Business Center has yet to issue a response to Big Smith News Watch regarding the matter. Firearm and ammunition found. Police continue to remove illegal guns from the streets. At approximately 1:30 HRS this morning, Sunday, March 23rd, a cadet officer and a team of policemen from the anti-terrorism unit were on mobile patrol in 3 police vehicles. While in the vicinity of Leopold and Cross Streets, Workin-Rust, Georgetown, they heard a loud explosion that sounded like a gunshot. The officers observed a male of African descent, dressed in long blue jeans and a colored hoodie, running with what appeared to be a firearm in his hand, heading south into a fenced yard. The ranks gave chase and apprehended the suspect. Upon searching him, police found a 9mm Beretta pistol tucked in his waistband. When asked if he held a valid firearm license, the suspect replied, no. He was informed of the offense committed and cautioned, but he remained silent. The male refused to provide his name and personal details to the officers. The suspect, along with the firearm and a magazine containing 10 rounds of 9mm ammunition, was escorted to the Ruimveldt police station, where the firearm was processed for fingerprints by crime scene officers. Later, the suspect was taken to the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, headquarters, where his hands were swabbed for gunpowder residue. He was subsequently placed in custody pending further investigation. Young lawyer killed in Sheriff Street accident, not wearing helmet. Royston Drake's production. Police are investigating a fatal accident that occurred at approximately 3:11 HRS today, Sunday, March 23, 2025, at the intersection of Sheriff and Dodanoa Streets, Georgetown. The accident involved motorcar number PWW 9839, owned by LaDonna Nar and being driven at the time by Viola Mittelholzer, a 34-year-old female from South Road, Laceytown, Georgetown. Motorcycle number CP4679, driven by Akilo Johnson, a 27-year-old male from South Ruimveldt, Georgetown. Preliminary investigations revealed that the car was traveling north along the eastern driving lane of Sheriff Street. As it approached the intersection with Dodanoa Street, the car was preparing to turn east. Meanwhile, the motorcycle, which was proceeding south along Sheriff Street at a high speed and was side by side with another motorcycle, entered the path of the car. The motorcyclist collided head-on with the car. At the time of the accident, he was not wearing a safety helmet. The impact flung the motorcyclist a considerable distance before he landed on the road, sustaining serious injuries. He was picked up by public-spirited citizens and transported to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation's Accident and Emergency Unit, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Actions taken. A notice of intended prosecution was prepared in duplicate and served on the driver of motor car PWW 9839. Measurements of the scene were taken. Checks were made for eyewitnesses, and one person came forward. Both the car and motorcycle were examined by a licensing and certifying officer. A breathalyzer test was conducted on the driver of the car, yielding readings of 0.16 and 0.10 micrograms of alcohol in her breath. The driver is currently in custody, assisting with the investigation. The body of the deceased is at the Georgetown Public Hospital's mortuary. Overseas-based Guyanese among two families devastated by Rose Hall town fire. Newsroom. An overseas-based Guyanese man is among two families who suffered significant losses in a destructive fire that occurred on Sunday. Joseph Woody, 72, a resident of Lot 295 4th Street in Rose Hall Town, reported that around 11 o'clock HRS, while watching television, he detected the smell of smoke. The shouts from neighbors alerted him to the unfolding crisis. Despite suffering from arthritis, which hindered his movement, Woody managed to evacuate the upper flat of his home. The wooden building, which contained 3 bedrooms, also housed a couple in the lower flat. Unfortunately, Woody was unable to save any belongings, as the fire consumed all of his important documents and cash. The nearby Rose Hall Town Fire Station was contacted, and firefighters quickly responded to the scene. Woody, who has been living in the United States, had returned to Guyana in January 2025 and intended to return on March 30th. Reflecting on the incident, he stated, "This has been the worst vacation I have ever had." Neighboring Woody, Pastor Jerry Alexander, 68, also experienced profound loss. He, along with his wife, Rosalind Alexander, 75, and their daughter and granddaughter, left their home at Lot 294 to attend church service before 9 o'clock hours. A few hours later, Pastor Jerry received devastating news that his house was engulfed in flames. Upon arrival, he witnessed his property, a combination of wood and concrete with 3 bedrooms, completely ablaze. He estimates their losses at $20 million. The Alexander family is currently navigating their next steps. So far, we are just trusting God because we serve a mighty God, a God who hears and answers prayers, a God who supplies our needs according to the riches of His glory. So we trust in Him, Pastor Jerry said. Having occupied the property for over 40 years, Pastor Jerry expressed the emotional toll of the loss. "It's hard, devastating. But God will come through for us. It's better to lose material things than to lose a life. Thank God, and that is what He says in His Word. In everything, give thanks. We are thanking Him for life," Pastor Jerry added. Divisional Fire Officer Clive McDonald confirmed to the newsroom that the fire originated from Pastor Jerry's property. Investigations indicate that the cause was electrical in nature. E-payment platform for more hassle-free business transactions coming soon. Newsroom. An electronic payment platform is currently being developed to facilitate easier business transactions, President Dr. Irfan Ali announced on Saturday during the sod-turning ceremony for the new Campbellville Polyclinic. "We are actively working on the implementation of this electronic payment platform, a mobile payment solution that will allow you to make payments for parts in Georgetown while being in one of the deepest mining areas, all from your mobile phone," President Ali stated. He further elaborated that users would also be able to make bill payments through the platform, and government ministries and agencies would be linked for the payment of various services. However, he did not provide additional details regarding the rollout timeline for the platform. This payment platform will alleviate much of the stress and save productive time that is often lost during business transactions, President Ali remarked. Multi-million-dollar bogus check scheme uncovered. 2 arrested, several others wanted. Guyanese critic, ranks from Criminal Investigation Department, CID, headquarters are investigating a fraud racket involving counterfeit citizens' bank checks, which has netted those involved some $26,350,000, $26,350,000. In the most recent heist from one of the bank's accounts belonging to one of Guyana's largest construction companies, Guyana Construction Incorporated. Police have so far arrested 2 men for being part of the counterfeit check ring. In custody are Marlon Johnson and Lori Caesar, whose addresses have been given as Retrieve, Linden. The men were arrested after investigations revealed the role they played in the counterfeit operation, which involved the use of a bogus Citizens Bank check, a Republic Bank account, and fake contract documents to justify source of income. The 2 men reportedly identified Shemaiah Ryan as the mastermind. Ryan is said to go by the alias, the banker. Police are now looking for Ryan to assist with their investigations. The elaborate criminal plot entailed the creation of a counterfeit check made to look like one belonging to Guyana Construction Incorporated, the opening of a Republic Bank account, and the forging of a contract to suggest that Lori Caesar was the owner of a company called Urban Developers that was subcontracted by Guyana Construction Inc. The heist was then rolled out on March 6, 2025, when the counterfeit Citizens Bank check was deposited at Republic Bank's Linden branch and made to seem it was paid to those who presented it by Guyana Construction Incorporated for works done. The process thereafter would mean a bank-to-bank transfer of the funds, a process that for Republic Bank would take 4 working days but, in some instances and also by request, could be expedited and completed in only 1 day. Investigators were told that one of the suspects then went to Republic Bank's Diamond branch and withdrew the $26,350,000, after which they linked up with the banker and handed over all but $1,700,000, which was compensation for the role the duo currently in custody played in the heist. But little did they know their worries had just started. When this publication reached out to the management of Guyana Construction Incorporated, they expressed frustration in the process, since the account at the center of this crime is now on hold as a result of internal investigation by Citizens Bank, and no one has answers as to how the company will recoup their money. The founder reflected ruefully that he would normally bank money for security, but this issue suggests his money is far from secure at this time. Meanwhile, police are expanding their investigations since this is not an isolated incident. Recently it was said the Guyana Water Incorporated (GWI) had some $50 million withdrawn from its accounts in similar fashion. Trump revokes legal status for 530,000 immigrants in the U.S. Al Jazeera, United States President Donald Trump's administration will revoke the temporary legal status of 530,000 immigrants, including Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, according to a notice in the Federal Register. This decision is effective April 24, 2025. This move represents the latest expansion of Trump's crackdown on immigration and cuts short a 2-year parole granted to these immigrants under former President Joe Biden, which allowed them to enter the country by air if they had U.S. sponsors. In response, a group of American citizens and immigrants has filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration, seeking to reinstate the humanitarian parole programs for these 4 nationalities. Biden's administration launched the parole entry program for Venezuelans in 2022 and expanded it to include Cubans, Haitians, and Nicaraguans in 2023, as it dealt with high levels of undocumented immigration from these countries. Diplomatic and political relations between the U.S. and the 4 nations have been strained. The introduction of these new legal pathways coincided with Biden's efforts to crack down on illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border. Trump, who campaigned on a harsh anti-immigration platform, took immediate steps to ramp up enforcement after taking office, including pushing for the deportation of record numbers of individuals residing in the U.S. without official documentation. He has criticized the legal entry parole programs initiated by his Democratic predecessor, arguing they exceeded federal law's boundaries. As part of his reversal policy, he signed an executive order on January 20 calling for their termination. The decision to strip legal status from 500,000 immigrants places many at risk of deportation if they choose to remain in the U.S. It remains unclear how many of those who entered the country under the parole program now have other forms of legal protection. In a notice set to be formally published in the Federal Register on Monday, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security stated that revoking the parole status would facilitate placing these immigrants in the fast-track deportation process known as expedited removal. Karen Tumlin, director of the immigrant rights group Justice Action Center, stated that the Trump administration is breaking a commitment the federal government made to the hundreds of thousands of immigrants and their sponsors in the United States. She added, suddenly revoking the lawful status of hundreds of thousands of CHNV, Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, humanitarian parole recipients will cause needless chaos and heartbreak for families and communities across the country. Nicolette Glazer, an immigration lawyer in California, noted that the latest order would affect the vast majority of the 500,000 immigrants who entered the U.S. under the CHNV program, warning that the chaos will be unreal. On March 6, Trump also indicated he would soon decide whether to revoke the parole status of approximately 240,000 Ukrainians who fled to the U.S. during the war with Russia. Under a Trump-era policy implemented in January, expedited removal can apply to certain immigrants in the U.S. for 2 years or less. In the meantime, the Venezuelan government announced it has reached an agreement to resume repatriation flights for immigrants from the United States. In a statement on Saturday, they said, "Migrating isn't a crime, and we won't rest until everyone who wants to return is back, and we rescue our kidnapped brothers in El Salvador."